Ali,
Yes, Hatim.
have you ever been to Brazil?
1998. Yes, I've been to Sao
Oh,
Paulo.
really? You
Yeah.
went you went and you didn't take me? Shame on you, man.
And that was the first time I went without I traveled outside of the country without my parents. Yeah, I think so. I think
MashaAllah.
so. It was in
What is the
1998.
what is the best thing you liked about Brazil?
I can't tell you much because I went there for only you will be surprised, only 3 days. I went there for a competition because I used to be in martial arts and we had
Yes, Hajj
this
Mansour.
Hujimusul and we had this competition. It's a world championship. So yeah, it was a 3 day thing, and we went to a place called specifically in São Paulo. I don't know how many hours, 2 3 hours
So
from São Paulo.
so
It's called
I guess
Peruíbe. It's called Peruíbe.
Ali, you're not an expert in Brazil. So let us get someone who is an expert in Brazil.
Uh,
Okay?
okay, shame on me. Assalamu alaikum and
Wa
welcome
alaikum
to
salam.
Chat Away in Ummati Station. How is everybody doing? Hatim, how are you doing, brother?
Good, Alhamdulillah. What about you? Hope things are good on your side.
Yes, I'm very well on my left side. Yes.
So how's things today? We have an interesting show, and we have someone from the
Mhm.
other side of the globe.
Oh
I,
yeah.
am I still don't forgive you for going to Brazil without taking me, but I want to hear more about Brazil from our guest.
Man,
So
you've been
go
to
ahead
many
and have the
places. You
honor.
you've been to many places without telling me. Now, come on, man.
But listen. Yes, I've been to many places, but it's not like Brazil. Brazil is something
There's
else, man.
nothing like Brazil. Oh la Brazil.
So you have the honor to introduce our guest for today, Ali.
Yeah. Yeah, before that, I just wanted to tell to our viewers to please. First of all, how are you guys doing? Have you been keeping? How was your Eid? Especially for those who were stuck in their houses for what 4 days. How
Four
was your
days.
Eid? Yes, 4 days during Eid, lockdown
It was
inside the
painful,
house.
man. It was painful.
Did you enjoy?
We enjoyed the food. We enjoyed the food mostly.
Great, great, great. So, our viewers, if you have any questions, any comments that you wanted to share during this episode, please go ahead and do that in the comments. So, our guest for today is Leandro Perez. He is a 31-year-old Brazilian, 31-year-old. Do you remember when you were 31 years? How long was that?
A long time ago, man.
Man, you're getting old, man. So, a 31-year-old Brazilian convert to Islam since 2014, who started actively searching about Islam when he was 14, mashallah. It took him a 10-year journey to feel completely ready to take his Shahada. Throughout that time, he has had the opportunity to meet many Muslims around the world, some of them in Brazil and others abroad. Let us welcome Leandro Perez. Assalamu alaikum.
وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته. Thank you very much.
Salam alaikum, Leandro. How are you?
I'm fine. And you? Guys, how are
Good,
you?
alhamdulillah.
Very good,
Alhamdulillah.
very good.
It's amazing that we finally get to see you. We've been
Yeah.
texting for so long,
Yeah.
and today is the day that we get to see you, your pretty face, mashallah. So thank
Thank
you
you.
very much for accepting the invitation to be on our show, and we are honored to have you as a brother.
I'm honored to be here as well, talking to you. Thank you
First
very
of
much.
all, what time is it right now in Brazil? Here is
Now
9
it's
p.m.
2 p.m. It's 2 p.m. here.
2 p.m.
2
So
p.m.
2
2
p.m.
p.m.
Which
afternoon. Afternoon.
so we're talking
Yeah,
about,
afternoon.
yeah, what day is it? Saturday, right? Saturday.
Saturday. Saturday.
Yeah, yes, it is. Yes.
So bom dia.
Boa tarde, actually.
Boa
Tarde
tarde.
is like
Okay.
afternoon. Yes, dia
Tarde,
is
tarde.
yo,
Oh,
is the day.
okay.
Yeah.
My mistake. My mistake. So
Oh
we
no,
have
it's
also
okay.
our viewers here. Hola from Abdullah.
Hola.
And we have Hafid, your friend Hafid. Maybe we're going to talk about him a little bit.
MashaAllah,
Hafidullah,
Hafiz.
Yes,
mashallah.
Alhamdulillah.
The
I think,
first question has to do with Hafiz. So
Yeah.
we want you to tell the audience, how did you get in touch with the people of Oman? And Hafiz is
Yeah.
involved in this story.
tell brother Leandro I greet him. That's a message to you by Hafid.
Okay. Assalamu alaikum, Hafiz. كيف الحال? Actually, I was maybe 1 or 2 years ago, I was searching about Islam, more things, because Islam is such a diverse religion. And I found an email on a specific website, and I knew that this email or this website was related to people from Oman. And I messaged this particular email, and then they answered me. And it happens to be Hafid, and he put me in contact with many people back there in Oman. It's been a pity that COVID started soon, so we couldn't manage to be face to face, either in Brazil or in Oman. But yes, it's been great, nevertheless. Yeah.
So,
Alhamdulillah.
Alhamdulillah. Thank you very much. Jazakallah khair, brother Hafiz, for having us to know such a great brother, Leandro. Leandro, I think now everybody might be having some kind of a question mark on their head. They want to know a little bit about you. So maybe if you can give us a little background about you, where you were born, and
Sure. Yeah. I was born in Brazil, in São Paulo, but when we were 2 years old, we moved back to Paraguay, a small country in South America,
Yes.
and I spent my childhood there. I've lived for 8 years. So actually, my real mother tongue is Spanish, and then we came back to Brazil when we were. I say we because I have a sister. We are twins, and we learned Portuguese when we were 10 years old. And then, yes, since then we've been living in Brazil. And when I was about 14 years old, I started wanted to learn Arabic in order to read the Quran originally from without translation. I didn't know how difficult it was going to be, but I started that, and I took around 2 years Arabic lessons. My teacher was from Syria, and then I started looking for information about Islam, and it was a time like 15 years ago or so. internet was not very strong yet, so we didn't have many informations online. So I literally tried to read everything I could in encyclopedias, in libraries, in every book I could get. I've read Edward Said and all these classics.
MashaAllah.
And the more I wanted to learn, the more I liked the religion. There were many things me personally had a belief. And then when I knew Islam, I know that there is a concept like fitra. So I think it was my fitra telling me many things. And then there are a few mosques in Sao Paulo. I went there to two or three mosques. Of course, the welcoming was very warm, and they gave me a lot of material. I read everything, and then
MashaAllah.
I memorized short surahs, of course, Fatiha, and then Ateen was my first surah after Al Fatiha. That's not the smallest one, but yeah, I knew that. And then I've never drank alcohol, and before
MashaAllah.
converting to Islam, I think, maybe 6 months without eating any pork or anything related to that. So I was preparing myself to see how hard would be my life as a Muslim, and I already knew how to pray, and so it was very smooth process, but a lengthy one because yes, as you have said in the introduction, it took me 10 years, but
Mashallah.
I'm very firm. I can say Alhamdulillah, and I always say this, and I keep repeating.
Alhamdulillah.
It was the best decision in my life because it's very strange when you feel something inside, but you are not exactly that. So the moment I took the Shahada, I say, oh, this burden was off. And yes, it's been wonderful, really, really wonderful experience. I've been to some Muslim countries, and every time I get into a Muslim country, the first thing I do is before getting to the hotel, or something, I go to mosque and I try to pray. So I've prayed in every Muslim country I've been.
MashaAllah.
It's very interesting. Yeah, yeah, it's
I
very
think
good.
before we ask you a second question, I want to hear
Sure.
Surah At-Tin from you, if that's okay.
Yeah, yeah. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم والتين وزيتون وطور سينين وهذا البلد الأمين لقد خلقنا الإنسان في أحسن تقويم ثم رددناه أسفل السافلين إلا الذين آمنوا وعملوا الصالحات فلهم أجر غير ممنون فما يكذبك بعد بالدين أليس الله بأحكم الحاكمين. And I used to recite Warsh, so
Allah Azim.
I put
Warsh,
a
MashaAllah.
Dhamma
no,
there.
notice
Yeah,
that, notice that.
MashaAllah.
Mashallah,
MashaAllah.
mashallah.
MashaAllah. Subhanallah, I'm thinking about it. You are 15, almost, or 14, and
yeah,
why would a teenager be interested
yeah,
in
yeah,
the Quran and go to the
yeah,
extent to learn the language? So, what was
yeah.
going through your mind that made you
Mhm,
identify that this is something that you
mhm.
want to know? Have you come across a Muslim? Have you
Yeah,
read about the Quran?
mhm,
Why
yeah,
the Quran? Why were you interested to read the Quran?
yeah. Yeah, actually, I was very interested in philosophy when I was younger. So I really liked Plato, for example, and he was very idealistic in many aspects. The Republic and the concept of virtue and these kind of things. And although I still live in a Christian majority country, and I was raised in a somehow Christian family. They were not practicing, but they identify themselves as Christians. I didn't have many answers to many questions that people start having when they become adolescents.
Hmm.
And um, I, yes, I was maybe trying to look or to find some answers through philosophy, but philosophy gives you some answers, but you still think that that's not complete. That's not the truth, maybe. And then I started looking into other religions, and I tried to read the basics of many religions, but none of them resonated with me. And Islam, from the very beginning, was very appealing to me. The architecture was beautiful, the culture in general, calligraphy. I was amazed by calligraphy. That was also another reason I'd like to learn Arabic at the moment. And and then yes, I really like history, so I was looking for historical accounts and these kind of things. And I was very identified with Arab culture or everything we have here in Brazil, because when we say Arab culture in Brazil, we normally think about Syria and Lebanon, because there are many Arabs here, and especially
Yes.
descendants of Arabs living in Brazil, and in South America especially, generally. And so we are very used to some Syro-Lebanese food. I know the controversy in Islam about songs, but I also appreciate some songs of the 90s, especially. That was maybe a better period. And
Like
yeah, I think
Kulthum and Fairuz
oh,
and
yes,
those
exactly this kind.
celebrities.
Yes, yes, yes. And then in this search for religion, the culture, the Arabic culture or Islamic culture in general was very appealing to me. And yeah, as I said, the more I was digging, more treasures I was finding. So eventually I said, "Khalas, that's it. I have to accept it and to
MashaAllah.
surrender it, literally." Yeah,
So tell us a little bit about you being a Brazilian Muslim and in Brazil itself.
yeah,
How is it? How is it being a
yeah.
Muslim?
Um, some things are hard, of course, because we are a minority, but it's not, thanks to God or Allah, alhamdulillah, it's not as difficult as in other regions, because um, I think that more than prejudice, we face ignorance in some aspects. So people don't know many things about Muslims. That sometimes that's better, because if they don't know anything, they don't have any special opinion or specific opinion. They say, "Oh, yeah, maybe that people that did kind of stuff." But also, thanks God, many things are not happening in the West now. So the news are a little bit different. Like we're not having this bad news every time, all the time, and this COVID is taking most of the news. So I've never faced any. Well, I don't look a Muslim. Even when I go to the mosques, they look like weird to me. Like, oh, maybe he's from Bosnia or something like that. I don't know, because yeah, and then okay, he prays properly, and then this kind of stuff. I've never faced anything, but and I didn't change my name. I didn't. I use a beard, but it's like nothing very different from what we use here in the Western world. Let's say. I try to be just a good person. I try to use normal regular clothing, good ones like halal ones is okay, but yes, just that. And actually, I don't advertise too much that I'm Muslim. Sometimes when we are eating, that's a moment that something comes up, because I say, "Oh no, thank you, I don't want this alcohol beverage," or is any pork in it or something like that. But normally, I don't talk too much about that to people, unless they know and they ask me, because I say the same liberty, the same freedom I had to choose my religion. I want
Mm.
every people to have. So in my family, actually, nobody is Muslim besides me. But every time they ask me something, I try to give the best answer. But that's from God. We only have to be a role model, or try to be. Of course, we're not perfect, but we hope to be the best one every day. Hmm.
Inshallah, inshallah. Hafid is asking, is it possible that the historical connection with Andalusia was a factor?
Uh, oh yes, maybe yeah, because my surname Perez actually is, we say in Brazil or in Portuguese we say new Christian. So these people that had this surname either used to be a Muslim or Jewish. So many people that came to Brazil or South America in general, they were people that were expelled from Andalusia,
Mm-hmm.
and I really liked also. I had the opportunity to be to Spain, and I visited the Mosque of Cordoba and Seville and many
Mashallah.
places, and was amazed. Granada, Al Hamra. There's a palace there. It's wow. It's one of the wonders of the Muslim heritage, Islamic heritage. It's amazing. And yes, definitely, it played some role in my interest for Islam and this point of contact between Europe and the Islamic world. Yes, definitely, it was very interesting to me.
Uh, Leandro, can you tell us a
Yeah,
little bit about the diversity in Brazil, the people of
yeah,
Brazil? Because
sure.
maybe in the Middle East, people know
Yeah,
only three things about Brazil. They know
yeah,
about football, for sure,
yes,
and
sure.
they know
Yeah,
about jiu-jitsu and
yeah.
uh, and samba,
Samba.
but
Yeah,
the carnival. So I'm sure
yes,
there's a
yes.
lot of cultural aspect, historical
Hmm.
aspect to Brazil
Yeah,
and the diversity of people, the people who migrated
yes,
to Brazil. So can you
yeah,
tell us a little bit about that, especially the
sure.
language? How
Yes.
come
Oh, I love that.
Brazilians they speak Portuguese?
Portuguese, yes. Well, we used to be a Portuguese colony for about 500 years. Um, at that time, Portuguese were all around the world. Even in Oman, they've been for a while.
Yes,
And
they've
India,
been here.
they were very
Hatim,
popular.
Hatim,
Yes.
do you speak Portuguese, Hatim?
Um, Not really, because they
What?
came to Oman. They came to Oman. We want them to stay longer, but then they decided to leave, and then we chased them all the way to Africa. So I didn't get an we didn't get an opportunity to get to know them. Yeah,
Oh man.
you know.
Yeah.
Sorry to all our friends in Portugal. We love you so much. Yeah.
Yeah. And actually, me myself, I'm descendant of Portuguese. My grandmother used to be Portuguese. She was born there in Portugal, and she came to Brazil in the 1930s. So yeah, uh, we have yes. Many people say that the Brazilian passport is one of the most searched for, sought after, because we have a big diversity in our population. We have
Mm,
literally any color. We have from the pitch dark to the very white people, and we have like
yeah.
indigenous people. We have Japanese descendant people. We have Arabs. We have Jews. We have Latin people. We have literally
MashaAllah.
everything. The thing we have the less is from the subcontinent. Indian people, we have like very few in Brazil, but even though we have some Pakistani coming recently in some cities, especially Rio, I know some Pakistani people. Yeah, so the majority of the country is a mixture of African descendants and Europeans, either from Portugal or from Italy, especially Italy. Many Italians. Me
Yeah.
myself also have Italian descendants, and some Germans also in the southern part of Brazil. We have many German people there. Yes.
You know that
But
this was my
And
shock when I was in Brazil. This was my
yeah,
real shock because I saw people who are blonde. I saw people who
yes,
looked exactly like me.
yeah,
So they look
yeah,
like Arabs. They look like Pakistanis.
yeah.
They have the dark. So I was
Yes.
confused. Why these
Yes,
different
that's true.
colors?
Yes,
Subhanallah.
yes.
Subhanallah.
So it's very fortunate
you,
that we don't have many. We have many problems in Brazil, but we don't have any ethnic problem like this kind of things that unfortunately we have in many places. So that's a thing that we always say. I have Jew friends, and we have very good relations. We can even talk about politics sometimes, and yeah, it's very good in this sense in Brazil.
you mentioned the indigenous people.
Yeah.
Who are they? They were there
Mm.
in Brazil before everybody else came. And
Yes, yes,
what are they called? Do they have a special name?
yeah. Well, we called Indios. We say to them because
Injus.
Actually, Indians come from India because when the Europeans
Mm.
came to America, at least that's the version of history that we get learned. They thought that they were arriving in India, so that's why they gave them the name of Indios. But
Ah,
the name that we say in Portuguese, like indigenous, like in English, so indigenous. So they are the original inhabitants of this land,
are they
and they are,
the same
yeah.
red Indians in America, or that's completely different?
Yeah, they are somehow related. They are different ethnicities. In South America, we used to have Incas, a great civilization.
The Incas,
Incas,
yeah.
But
yes, yes, yes.
yeah, but they are from not from Brazil. They are from Peru, Bolivia, this region in the Andes.
Mm.
Here in Brazil, we used to have more simple civilization, let's say, but great as well. We have many things that we inherited in Brazil, many names of places or foods. Many people from the center to the north of Brazil are descendants of indigenous people or even indigenous themselves. There are very few that are left, but many of them mixed with black people and white people as well. So it's very different, the population that we have in the north of Brazil and the south. And it reflects many things like the way of speaking, the food, the customs, regional customs, many things. So we are the fifth largest country in the world, so we have a huge diversity as well.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, and
See,
it makes Brazil very different from other countries in Latin America in general, because Latin America speaks Spanish and we speak Portuguese. Although it's very closely related, it's
yeah,
still very different language, and this barrier acted as a way to make us very different from Latin Spanish speaking Latin people, let's say.
yeah.
So yes, we have many different things like carnival. It's very different here in Brazil, or football. I live in a region that we plant a lot of coffee beans, like coffee plants, and now it's
Oh,
yeah, that's heritage. That's
I have a
from you.
coffee shop, man. I'm gonna talk to you after the show.
Oh, okay, yeah, for sure, for sure. Yeah, here in Franca is one of the best regions in Brazil for coffee, and now it's a season actually.
Mm,
Everybody's working on that, and yeah, it's very famous here.
great. Talking
And
about
I
the
think also
languages.
cacao, yeah?
Ca-
They
Uh,
Yes,
also
cacao
do
is
plant
another
the
it's
cacao.
another region. It's more in the north of Brazil, but yes, we have still a lot of cacao. Yeah,
mm, Hatim,
and
I'm
sugar
gonna
cane.
ask you. Sugarcane. Okay.
Yeah.
I love sugarcane juice, man, especially with lemon.
Yes, we do as well. Yes.
Hatim, I'm gonna ask you a question. What do you call? And I'm talking about languages now. What do you call flag in Swahili?
Bendera.
Oh, that's Portuguese.
Yes. Do you know
Really?
what's
Yeah,
do you know what's
bandera. We say
bandera? And that's in
yeah,
Spanish as well. Do you know what's
as yeah.
key? You know what's key in Hindi? Key, chavi. What's that in
Oh,
Portuguese?
chave.
Chavi.
It's the same. Yes,
Yeah.
yes,
Oh, we're getting somewhere now. We're getting somewhere.
Getting
yeah,
somewhere. So yeah, I think
yeah.
MashaAllah.
we have so many similar things in language, and that shows the roots are almost the same.
Yeah.
Now, Leandro, you're very much interested in language, and you started off your story by saying that
Yes.
you learned the Arabic language, but I'm sure
Mm,
you've learned other languages as well, in addition
mm,
to Turkish, Greek,
yeah.
a little bit of
Yes.
French, and other
Yes.
languages. So, what's the
Yes.
obsession with languages, and what made you learn these languages?
Actually, the most interesting thing is that I used to have a difficulty with English when I was younger. And then I say, how so? I started learning English by myself, okay, with the help of my sister in the beginning. And then the third language, actually the fourth language, because the first one was Spanish, and then some English when I was younger, still living in Paraguay, and then Portuguese was my third language. And then Arabic was my fourth one. Although I'm not completely fluent, I can read very well Arabic
Inshallah.
nowadays. And then I moved. I tried to learn Turkish. It was very difficult at the time because we have very few Turkish people in Brazil, and as a language is completely different from anything is like closer to Korean, Mongolian language is very, very different. But I can understand very, very well Turkish. I've been 4 times to Turkey and always speaking
Leandro,
Turkish with them. Yeah.
Leandro. So does this mean now you can watch the Turkish series without subtitles? Like
Kind
out
of,
of all,
almost without subtitles. Yes, I'm actually. It's been maybe 4 years. I don't practice too much Turkish, but I still can understand fairly well.
the reason
And
why I'm
then,
asking you this, the reason why I'm
yeah.
asking you this, is that through statistics, the
Hmm.
highest nation watching the Turkish series now is
Oh
Brazil,
yes, that's true.
and that
That's
is
true.
shocking. That is
Yeah,
shocking. That a lot of
yeah.
people in Brazil are very much interested in the Turkish series. I don't know if you're
Yes.
aware
Oh,
about that. Do
Yeah,
you
yeah.
watch any Turkish series?
seriously?
Um,
I thought that was
yeah.
in the
That's
Gulf, or Pakistan
No,
was
also.
more.
Yeah.
no. It used to be Indonesia and then Pakistan
Mm.
and now Brazil.
MashaAllah.
Wow. Yeah. Yes. Well, actually, they have very good series. Like the filming, the sets is very good, and also the story that's being told
Yeah.
also is very interesting. And well, we hope it makes some good effect also in Brazil uh, to that. Yes, I used to watch some series, but I don't follow too much because I don't have any means. Like I don't have even TV in my house
Hmm.
for many reasons. Because we can search for other things and to spend our time in better ways. But every now and then I look something or I watch something to yes just to get in contact with Turkish language and this kind of things. Of course, many of the series are with historical background, so that's also interesting in my point of view. For example, yeah, and basically all the languages of that region I really like. Even Greek is very similar to Spanish from Spain, especially the pronunciation
Yeah.
and Persian and these kind of things. I really like the culture of this lands, food and carpets and art. Like it's so amazing. I've been to Tunisia, for example, and it was an amazing experience. Um, I'd like to be in many other places, but yeah, Allahu A'lam.
Inshallah,
But
inshallah. One day
inshallah,
in Oman,
yeah,
inshallah.
yes, inshallah.
We promise you, inshallah, when you come to Amman, it's gonna be a fulfilling
Yeah.
experience, inshallah.
Oh
Just
yeah,
don't
I
come
hope so.
don't come during summertime. Now
Oh yeah,
it's now it's summer in Brazil. Is it winter
yeah,
or
yeah. It's winter now. Yeah, yeah.
yeah?
Maybe in
So
December, right?
yeah, January,
Yeah,
December, January,
January.
February. I
Yeah.
think yeah. Other than that,
Okay.
stay where you are.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
Hafid Rawahi is saying the fact that Leandro's mother tongue is Portuguese, it means he spoke Arabic before he officially started to learn it. So you spoke it before you learned it because more than
Yeah, kind of.
5% of Portuguese is Arabic.
Yes. Yeah, yeah.
MashaAllah.
We have a lot of, for example, rice. We say arroz, arroz,
Arroz,
Arroz,
arroz.
arroz,
arroz,
Yes.
arroz.
arroz.
Uh,
Yes.
or sugar, azúcar, azúcar. It's the same word actually.
Azúcar.
Same
We
Yeah,
have
word,
some
yes.
words there. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
like
That's
I
true.
don't know. In Italian, the bill is
Hmm.
fatura. Fatura. I don't know what's that in Portuguese.
Oh
Bill.
yes.
Is it same?
Bill, factura exists, but we use in another context. Yeah, bill is like conta, حساب, right? In this
Yeah,
Hesab.
sense.
حساب, حساب.
Hesab.
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah. Yeah.
account.
We say like count, like conta, because you
Conta.
do the
Content.
Okay.
sum. Yeah, yeah,
Now tell me a little
Inshallah.
bit about the Muslims in Brazil in general.
yeah.
Are there a lot of mosques and Islamic centers?
Mm,
And what's the
mm.
percentage of Muslims compared to the total population?
Yeah, the last figures that we find, the official figures, are from more than 10 years ago. So maybe the numbers are very different from that time nowadays. Officially, there were around 40,000 40,000 Muslims in Brazil. I think it's a very low number, but many Islamic organizations in Brazil say that we have up to 1 million. personally, I think that's a little bit exaggerated as well. I don't know. But we have in the
Immigrants, immigrants or reverts?
yeah, most of them are immigrants, especially from Syria and Lebanon. And we have a city close to Argentina and Paraguay, Foz do Iguaçu. There are many, many Arabs and especially Muslim Arabs there. In Sao Paulo, we have also a commercial neighborhood that have lots of immigrants, and many of them are Arabs as well and Muslim. But generally, we don't interact too much with. It's hard to find Muslims in an average city in Brazil. So yeah, we are a very very tiny minority here, but we have many mosques. Like it's according to our necessity. So in São Paulo there are around 10 mosques, for example. But in the city I'm living currently, there is no mosque.
Hmm.
But we have a 3 hour by car another mosque in a close by city. Well, or so, 3 hours to go to the mosque. So I can't go every week to Juma PEREZ, for example, but it's okay.
MashaAllah.
But there are some regions that normally are immigrants. So, like every immigrant do, for example, the first one comes and then second, and they start growing a little community. But there are some reverts as well. I know some Brazilians who converted to Islam. There are not too many, but we have. And it's apparently that's a trend in the world. And many of the converts, in a percentage wise, are women nowadays. And in Brazil, it's the same. So it's very interesting because we
Hmm.
listen to a lot of
And
things.
any specific
Yeah.
reason why that?
Um, once I've heard that women are more sensitive and maybe less arrogant. I don't know, something like that. So they, when they want to, uh, yeah, to feel when they feel something and they are looking for that, they are more prone to accept than men. I don't know exactly, but it's good to hear this kind of news. But yeah, me personally, I don't know any Brazilian woman Muslim, but I know that there are because I know some Muslims in Brazil, of course, and some of them are married to Brazilians, like Christian Brazilians, other to Muslim Brazilians.
Ah, okay.
So yes, there are. Yeah, and actually, I've read that many of them, like these women, they use the hijab, for example. But in São Paulo, where there are more Muslims, I've never seen. I don't remember seeing any Muslima, let's say, using the hijab. But yeah, we know that they exist there also.
We have
You know, I
also. Go ahead, Hatim.
yes, I watched a video. I'm trying to remember where I saw it. It was about the Ministry of Religious Affairs in Oman. They conducted
Mm-hmm.
a an exhibition about Islam. It's called the message of peace or something like that. And they
Mm-hmm.
conducted it in Brazil. And the people of
Oh
Brazil,
yeah.
they loved it so much. And the mayor of that city named one of the streets. He either called it Muscat or Cabus. I don't remember. One of
Oh,
the two.
Mashallah.
So there is a street
mashallah.
in Brazil that has the name in relation to Oman.
Related to
I'm gonna
yeah.
find that video and send it to you, inshallah.
So
Okay.
then
Yes.
we can
Thank you.
so we can travel to Brazil without visa then?
No, I'm sorry, Ali. You
I
have to
know.
get a visa.
Yeah.
What about dawah activities? And I think this was a question that also
Yeah.
raised by Hafid himself,
Hmm.
because you
Yes.
said there are not many number. So how people
Yeah.
would do dawah and all that?
Yeah. Well, we have da'wah movements. Me myself, I got in contact like in the very beginning when I was thinking to convert to Islam and this kind of things. There are some organizations, especially in São Paulo, I can say personally, and they used to have lots of material, but they are not still they are not very active on. YouTube or this kind of platforms. We have some pages on Facebook, but is what we say in Portuguese, ant work is a very hard but uh, uh, small labor. But it's going. It's on progress work because Muslims actually they've been in Brazil since the very beginning. There were many slaves that came to Brazil from Africa that used to be Muslims. We have even some churches that were built by Muslim slaves, and we have some Arabic inscriptions inside these churches. In Bahia, there is a famous one. I don't remember exactly the name. So we always have had Muslims living in Brazil, but
They
nowadays we
came
have
from
more boys.
Angola. Did they come from the
Actually,
Angola?
no, actually from Mali and that region. The Western Africa, from
Okay,
Western Africa. Yeah, yeah.
interesting, mashallah.
Okay,
Interesting. Now, what's the secret?
I
Yes,
just
Ali, go ahead.
wanted to say something that we will try to end the show within 10 minutes, if that's okay, or even less.
Sure.
The plan is to make it shorter. So,
Hmm.
Inshallah.
inshallah.
Now, I'm sure for all our viewers from the Middle East, they want to know the secret between Brazil and football, the love between Brazil and
Oh yes.
football. What's this chemistry? What's this chemistry that Brazilians have with
Yeah.
football?
It's a pity that we're not that good currently. We've lost the regional cup here. Uh,
Mm.
okay, to Argentina, it's fair enough. But it's a greatest passion in Brazil so far. It's the most widely practiced sport. But that's actually a problem because I'm a regular player. But when I say I'm from Brazil, they think like you are a Ronaldinho or something like that.
Yeah.
And no. I I would like to maybe, but no, I'm just a regular person. But yeah, almost everyone plays football here, and it's very deep in our culture in Brazil. Yes, and
The reason why I'm asking you about football,
yeah.
I was talking last week to Sheikh Yusuf Chambers, and we were
Hmm.
talking about the incident that happened about racism in
Yeah.
football in the
Hmm.
recent incidents in the UK, and
Hmm.
he said that football has become a religion now
Oh yeah.
because people from around the world are all
Hmm.
gathered around football and
Mm.
they
Hmm.
worship football. And I think
Yeah.
it's a golden opportunity that Muslims should be part of this new
Hmm.
faith, which is so called
Hmm.
football, because you can influence so many people through
Hmm.
football. Yeah,
Yeah.
you can have a lecture in the mosque and maybe 200, 300
Yeah.
will attend. But if
Yeah.
you are a
Yeah.
football player and you're a Muslim and
Oh
you
yes.
conduct yourself in the best way, you become a role
Hmm.
model and you can
Yeah.
influence the entire world without even
Yeah.
speaking their language. The only
That's
language
true.
you know
Yeah.
is football.
And I
So I
think that
think
Yeah.
applies
that's a strategy.
that applies to maybe many sports. We have an example, UFC. You know,
Khabib.
Yeah. Habib.
Khabib.
Yeah. Amazing.
So
Yeah,
yeah,
Yes.
mashallah,
That's true.
mashallah.
mashallah. I have one more question, Leandro.
Sure.
Now that you are a Muslim for quite some time and you're
Yeah.
Brazilian,
Hmm.
what do you think a Brazilian would be interested in Islam? So
Yeah.
if we talk to a Brazilian, what
Yeah.
aspect do you think they would be interested to know about the religion of Islam?
Yeah, I'll answer in two ways. I'll use my also my own experience because, with all respect to any other religion, but Islam is a very simple aqidah. So the faith is very simple. So one is one, and we have no contradictions, and many of the basics explanation for the basic tenets of Islam are very straightforward. And actually, if you use pure reason, pure logic, you can also arrive to the same conclusions. So it's very appealing in this sense. But the other side of my answer would be that uh, actually in Brazil, we have a very strong Christian background. And at the same time, many people are becoming more atheistic or this kind of mentality, especially in the big cities.
Secular.
That, yeah, that's a trend in all around the world, unfortunately. But I think that those who are genuinely seeking for something special or that really makes sense, Islam has a very, very appealing solution or message, actually. So that's something that we want to make people aware of. If they ask, or I know some Muslims that sometimes in Eid or these kind of periods, like Eid al-Fitr during Ramadan, or even during now Eid al-Adha in these festivities, they try to interact with the community and make good things. And if they ask, what are you giving us meat? Well, because we're Muslims and we are commanded to do that to
Mm.
people and this kind of thing. So we little by little want to spread the message in a good way. Of course, everyone has its own method, but that's something that I partake sometimes. I think it's useful as well. Inshallah,
I think
they
we
will
forgot
accept our efforts. Yeah.
we forgot to actually ask you about how was the Eid in Brazil. Let's talk about this Eid, the
Yeah.
specific Eid. Or maybe this is not a good example because of COVID. Let's say
Yeah.
generally, how is
Yeah.
the Eid celebrated in Brazil?
Yeah. Well, I'll talk again about the Muslims I know, or I'm more closely related to them. We come in contact to a local farm close to São Paulo, for example, and we rent this area. We buy some lambs, maybe a cow or an ox, and then do the slaughtering process, and then, well, divide the meat there, cook some meat there in the countryside of the farm, and then we go back to our homes and we distribute to people. Uh, Sometimes people go themselves to the mosque to perform the Eid prayer. Sometimes you can do even in the farm, like in a communal way, or in the open area, let's say. In this point is very easy sometimes. Um, we don't have like any governmental pressure whatsoever. Thank to others, it's very 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 tranquil, very easy for us to do that. Yeah, so regularly is that. And Ramadan time is even better because every friend wants to us to be their guest, and then okay, just take some
Yeah,
eat with us, and then because many of them are foreigners, so they really have this Middle Eastern culture of
nice.
calling people to their homes, and I really like Middle Eastern food, so I can eat really good food as well. It's very very nice, very good.
Leandro, when you
Yeah.
come to Oman, you have to try camel meat.
Oh yeah, definitely. I would like to. And even I don't know if you know, man. You drink milk of camels. Do you
Yes,
Yeah,
have
yes.
it? Okay,
yeah.
I'm really
We'll,
interested in that.
we'll,
You, I think I know what you're gonna say, Hatim. When you when you drink for the first time, what? Tell Hatim.
Uh,
Continue.
you will have diarrhea. So you start with the meat,
really?
and then once
Okay,
you get used to it, and then we'll give you the milk.
okay. But nevertheless, I definitely will try it. I really like milk, so I will have
Inshallah, inshallah. It's been a pleasure having you on the show,
to be
Leandro,
honor.
and we wish if we can hug you and see you
Yeah,
in
me too.
person. But because of COVID, we are
Sure.
far in distance, but our hearts are
Yeah,
together. I just want you to
yeah,
send a message out there to all the brothers and the sisters in Brazil that we love you all for the sake of Allah. And truly, we are honored to have brothers in Brazil, and may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala continue to to help us bridge the gaps between the East and South America, inshallah. Because especially the people in the Middle East, they go to Europe and Africa and Asia, but very few people have reached South
Yeah.
America. And I think
Yeah.
maybe our generation, we should play this role and come and visit you guys in
I've
South
done it,
America.
man. I've done it, man.
Ali, don't talk to me.
For
I'm
3
still
days.
mad at you. I'm
For
still
3
mad at
days.
you for not taking me to Brazil. But inshallah, let's hope. I think Ali, during this show, we have promised so many people to visit them. So
Did
we
you
need
write them down?
to have a list. We need to write them down because there's so many countries now to visit. But inshallah,
Yeah.
may Allah give us
Inshallah.
life to see you in person. Inshallah, if not in Brazil, then in Oman.
Yes,
Inshallah,
yes. Either way,
inshallah,
it's gonna be
inshallah.
interesting.
And I
Inshallah.
think if you can share this video to the people of Brazil, especially
Sure.
where Hatim actually mentioned that we love and care about you as Brazilian brothers and sisters. So I think this message, if it spreads, coming from the Middle East, coming from Oman to the people outside there, so I think that will also inspire us before them.
Yeah. Inshallah.
So Jazakallah khair. Thank you so much for accepting
Thank you.
our invitation and inspiring us.
Thank you for having me here. Thank you.
You're most welcome. Salam to
Ob-
everyone. Take care, my brother.
Obrigado.
Obrigado. Welcome.
All right, Hatem.
Ali, I think you need to start preparing the list. We have to start ticking the boxes.
I think
Okay, Brazil,
we have to
Holland,
start.
Maldives, and
We
everywhere.
have to start watching the show from day one. When we started talking about France and the guy in.
Well, you'll have to excuse me, but France wasn't on the list. Maybe soon, inshallah.
Maybe if we find a French brother, inshallah. Why not?
Bismillah.
Why not? Why not? And also, I want to tell to our viewers, please, 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 I want you to like and share this episode. And if you have not subscribed, please do subscribe and hit that indication button so you get all notification and you get to see Hatim all the time with his light on his face. Jazakallah khair, brother.
Yalla, take care.
Obrigado.
Assalamu alaikum.
Alaikum salam
Obrigado.
wa rahmatullah.
Ma'as salam.